Alright guys, so today we're playing Call of Duty Advanced Warfare in 2025. It's been 11 years now since this game's release. And it's going to be very similar to the things that I said in the Call of Duty Ghost video as far as how many people are still playing and what the overall experience is like. It's the same problem as Ghost, where it's not completely dead, but it is going to be a little bit harder to find matches. Like if you're playing on certain times of the day, certain days of the week, your best bet to find full matches of Team Deathmatch is to play during the weekends, during the early afternoon to early evening times. This is a game that was released on 5 different platforms: PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Xbox 360, Xbox One, and PC. And there are people who are playing on all 5 of those platforms. There are some that are a lot harder to find matches for than others, so I'll just say right now, probably don't bother with PC, because it's not impossible to find a match, and it's not like it's never going to happen, but it is so rare that you're better off just going for any of the other 4 platforms. It's the same issue with a lot of the older CODs on PC, where if you just try to play straight off of Steam, there's hackers and there's people trying to get into your PC, a lot of malicious shit going on, so they have a custom client to prevent that from happening, but the thing is no one plays on that either, so it's, yeah, probably not worth your time. If you only care about single player, then by all means go ahead and get it on PC. It runs fine, everything is okay, but for online multiplayer, I would say is probably a no-go. PS3 has some issues with matchmaking, and there aren't that many people playing, still more than PC. 360 is good. There's a good amount of players on there, and it is fully backwards compatible, so if you have a Series X or an Xbox One, you can play the 360 version separately from the Xbox One version, but I would ultimately recommend you play the Xbox One version over 360 because there are more people playing online these days, and obviously the graphics and performance is much better. If you have access to it, though, I would say, above all, get the PlayStation 4 version because there are a lot more players on PS4 than pretty much all the other platforms combined. And that makes sense because the PS4 sold twice as many consoles as Microsoft sold Xbox Ones, and there just aren't a lot of people that are still playing on the old gen consoles because, you know, people just don't really play on those systems online anymore these days. Not a lot, at least. And if you have access to a newer version with better graphics, most people are going to take advantage of that and leave the PS3 and 360 versions behind, which makes sense. So, yeah, that's what you need to know as far as platform. As far as the actual gameplay and everything is concerned, if you've never played Advanced Warfare before, you're going to be in for an experience. I'll just say that. It was the first futuristic Call of Duty game. Well, not necessarily, because back then in 2012, Black Ops 2 was futuristic because it took place in 2025. And I guess Ghost was also futuristic because I think that game setting was like 2028 or 2020, something like that. It was like far into the future. Well, it was in the near future compared to the actual year it was released. But Advanced Warfare is like far into the future. It's like 2065, and it has laser weapons and jetpacks and all this shit. And while there are other Call of Duty games that also have jetpacks and are also far in the future, the movement system in Advanced Warfare is vastly different than Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare. If you've played those games and you never played Advanced Warfare and you're coming back to Advanced Warfare or playing it for the first time thinking it's going to be similar, the movement is completely different. The exo movement, you're pretty much just jumping really high in the air and you're skipping around the entire map, which some people swear by the exo system and think it's the best movement in all Call of Duty. I swear, there are people that say that, and they do exist, and you might find them in the comment section, because typically when I make a video about whatever game in 2025, it's like the most hardcore fans of that game that are going to click on that video, and even a shitty-ass game like Skull and Bones, I made that video saying it wasn't really a good game to play, and of course all the Skull and Bones fans, all the 25 Skull and Bones fans came out of the woodwork and were telling me how wrong I was, and disliked the video, and has more, like, almost as many dislikes than likes. Whatever. Point is, you're gonna find some hardcore Advanced Warfare defenders. I didn't think this game was that good. I think it was pretty mid. I think the movement system fucking sucked, honestly. Like, it wasn't, like, unplayable and horrible, but it was really annoying. Not hard and not like, oh, a fun challenge like Titanfall and the movement system in that game, where it's like a learning curve and it's, like, it takes some time to master, but it's worth it, and it's really good. This is just, you're just jumping up in the fucking air, and you're trying to kill enemies, and it's such a pain in the ass, and really just wasn't a very well thought out system of movement for an FPS game. It was kind of just slapped together at the last minute, you can tell. So, yeah, I wasn't really a fan of that. And plus, the kill streaks are the worst in any Call of Duty game. They are the weakest, even though it has that whole thing where you can customize score streaks. I, like, completely decked out one of my score streaks like a missile, and it did absolutely nothing. And there's, like, so many streaks that are completely worthless and don't do anything, except for, like, maybe the Goliath. That's, like, the only really good streak in the game, where you pretty much turn to, like, a giant mech robot with a machine gun. That shit's pretty cool. Otherwise, though, pretty forgettable, pretty underwhelming. The maps are not that memorable either. The weapons are also not that memorable and iconic compared to previous entries like Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, Modern Warfare 2. I wouldn't go as far as to say that Advanced Warfare is a bad multiplayer or a bad Call of Duty game. I would probably honestly rank it higher than Call of Duty Ghosts in terms of the map design and the overall experience. It's a little bit better. But if you include the Season Pass in Call of Duty Ghosts, Ghosts is better, if that makes sense. But I guess Advanced Warfare is better because you don't necessarily need the DLC to get a good experience. I have all the map packs, and there are people who still play the DLC in 2025. If you have them, it's probably not worth getting at this point, like 11 years later, because it's not that active anymore. Unless you really want to play Exo Zombies, because there actually are still people that play that, and I'll make a separate video for that mode. And it's crazy, because I remember when Advanced Warfare first came out, and during its life cycle, people hated the supply drops. This was the first Call of Duty game to have supply drops, but you know what? Compared to later entries, especially Black Ops 3 and Modern Warfare Remastered, it was so much better in Advanced Warfare. I actually ended up getting all the weapons that I eventually wanted to get that were locked behind the supply drop system, and without spending a single dime to obtain them. While in Black Ops 3, it is pretty much impossible to get, like, any of the weapons you want, never mind all of them. So I would say that Advanced Warfare's monetization is better than Black Ops 3, and even the new games with the battle passes and the cosmetics and the operators, I don't think, I think, honestly, that Advanced Warfare is better, too, than those games and that system. But overall, Advanced Warfare is an average Call of Duty game. Not good, not bad, just kind of somewhere in the middle. That if you've never played it before and you're like, you have it like set out where you want to play every single Call of Duty multiplayer and you want to like complete your collection, then it's definitely worth it in that regard. Still have players online, even though it's a little bit more difficult to find people in 2025, but you'll still get a lot of value out of it if you can get it at a good price. And the single player is actually really fucking good. One of my favorite Call of Duty campaigns ever, so it's probably worth it just for that if you can get it cheap. But let me know if you guys still play this game in 2025, and how would you rank Advanced Warfare out of all the Call of Duties?